There comes a point in time in all our lives where we ask a question, a very specific question that is consistent with all of us. What is the meaning of our lives? And now, just like any true philosopher would, I'm here to ask a question on the back end of that. Why am I asking what the meaning is? I want to find out why I'm asking. Not just because I feel a need to, but I know that if I find out why I'm asking what the meaning is, then I've already solved half of the meaning. My name is Ryan, and welcome to my YouTube video where I like to talk about things I like talking about while I like drawing things I like drawing about. That's pretty much the gist of what we're doing here, and I'm going to be drawing something fun or weird or whatever, a monster mostly so, and I'm going to tell you about the meaning of life. Deers spend their life roaming around in nature, just as every animal. And these deers live their life hiding within bushes, within trees, never really wandering outwards. And they live their life like this because they have an overwhelming fear of life, fear of nature, fear of the beyond, death. They do not want to die because their purpose is to keep breeding on forth for the survival of their species. So they are never to die on purpose. Humans, well, there's just something very different about us. We have fear, but more so, we have intelligence. We have emotional recognition. We can look onto our emotions of fear and say, why am I fearing? And that just disobeys the whole natural order. We look at death and we think about death, whereas animals are too afraid running from death to even think on death. And when we look at death, we mostly think, how am I going to die? Because if we can know how we're going to die, well, maybe we'll just prosper in the light of it. And the weird thing is with death is that it can come at any point in time. You know, the unanswerable part of death is that it can happen wherever, whenever, however, and you can do nothing about it. And we probably find that mostly horrifying, that our death is in our control. Let's just emphasize, I said isn't in our control. Bear with me. Ooh, lighting. I like smoking while I talk, so please excuse me. Just take these moments as moments to think on what I've said, to breathe, to ask questions on what I've said. Don't take it as dead air. Dead air don't exist. Dead air is to stop you thinking. Anyway, so because we have intelligence unlike animals do, we obviously again wonder about our death. And because we know our death is coming, we dearly try to find meaning within it all, because then maybe we can live our life correctly within time and die rightfully. Which is a strange thing to me, dying rightfully, because you got to think, well, who's to say you died correctly? And I mean, religions form a belief that you shouldn't die by suicide, by old age, by illness, because those won't take you into the afterlife. And the influence of the afterlife, I believe, is a huge thing onto having to find meaning, because we believe that there is something after death. You know, Christianity, they believe that you'll get judged on your death. And if you haven't lived your life correctly, then, well, you're going to hell. And other religions obviously have their formation of hell, and pretty much everyone subconsciously believes in heaven and hell. I truly believe that. Everyone in their subconscious has a belief of heaven and hell. And if you say you don't, god damn it, you are lying. Because we've all got a sense of right and wrong, and we stay true to it because of a fear of heaven and hell, death, so on and so forth. Our fear of the eternal is what keeps us in control, more so. Because we can't fear a wolf coming out and eating us, just like deers do. But goddamn, stay assured that we can fear whatever's after death. Because obviously the being is that if we live our life with purpose correctly, blah blah, and we die, then we can go into heaven. Then we fear not living our life correctly because we end up in hell, eternal suffering for just not living correctly. So we live in suffering now, trying to live correctly as to avoid hell. It's mad to me how just one sole belief has configured a whole part of us, part of everyone. But it goes deeper even there. It goes so much further, because as we've evolved throughout time, humans wouldn't have grown as rapidly as they have without such a huge boost in community. And these communities, for the large part, accumulated because they all had a shared belief. They all stayed true and strong because of a shared belief. And I mean, that's why tribes are the way they are. That's why modern society is the way it is. That's why people believe that in the good old days, when pretty much everyone was more or less religious, things were better because they had a stronger sense of community. And that's why things are falling apart now, people say. I sometimes say, because none of us have a belief in anything. We all just pretty much exist to exist. And there's nothing shared amongst us, so no one can feel a part as one. But when people feel like a community, obviously our lives grow more fulfilling, for one. So if you live a good purpose, you thrive, right? You don't just stop suffering. Suffering's still there, because to really achieve your purpose, you need suffering. But we thrive off the back end of our suffering, off our purpose, because basically everyone praises us for our achievements, for our success, for our greatness. I mean, look at any great figure and you can probably see the audience cheer them in the background, or the millions of money at their disposal. Bear with me. So, as I was saying as well, with community comes sects. And I don't just mean to be like a little hornster when I talk about things like this, but it's true, it's factual. Sex is a driving force in the world because without it, you wouldn't have children. That's why rabbits, screw like rabbits. Because without that, they'd be extinct. Crazy, right? Who would have thought? So when we got a tighter community, people often meet more, have more children, and because the community is thriving as well, because they all feed off this purpose and they thrive in it, they're more likely to have more children. So people grow faster, a lot faster. Next, just gonna take an absolute swing out of the blue. We've got philosophers, and now they've been around for a goddamn long while, and for the most part, we're a plague to society because we do not really help their hope of anything good. And I mean, we kind of make everything harder for people normally by pondering these questions that people don't really like facing, facing the existentialism subject people like doing. So with our sheer ignorance, philosophers have obviously argued the inherent purpose of life, trying to argue if we should actually just do nothing or if we should do something with it. And pretty much the end result is, goddamn, we should absolutely do something with our lives because we can't know what's after. So for that sole reason of not knowing what comes after, we should do something with our lives. Because what if? Just live off that. What if there is something after? Well, if there is, then you better hope I'm gonna do the right thing. Even if there's not, I've died happily. Because now I do believe that living like this is a good thing. So obviously people have A, thought there's no meaning, or B, believe there is meaning. And the people that believe there is meaning thinks that it comes through virtue, having that connection I just talked about, or contributing something larger themselves, which is a great thing because if you keep your dreams small, obviously you achieve small, but that gratification or the satisfaction that you have is also small. But when people manage to fix something in the world, the satisfaction that they have from that is grand, absolutely grand, and they remain a staple in history, which I can't argue anything better, really. And I don't really know why, to be honest, we have this interest in staying eternal in history. you could say it is perhaps out of a fear of there being nothing after, but who knows? Who knows? I'll find that out another day. But point being is that these philosophers that have posed this question, obviously they kind of send this message out into the public, and what this does then is just furthers the public's questions towards these beliefs, these questions. It gives them the existential question. It doesn't subdue it at all. It just furthers the drama. So obviously people basically get ignited to fulfill this belief that's been given to them. And I mean, we truly see nowadays what exactly the result of this is, and we can see that it is true as well, because it's new to developing science. I think it's new, I believe it is, about these curated beliefs that people have. So TikTok, Instagram, basically any social media, these people that share their beliefs and thoughts out there, like I'm doing right now, the people that watch these videos, they just straight up adopt your beliefs because it's the answer that they want, that they like. So pretty much just take it as that. That's been a thing with humans. So you could say for the most part that people like philosophers giving these questions out have curated a lot of people's lives. It's crazy. Just the fact that they've put that thought out there has probably helped humanity more than we know. Which is a nice idea, that people should put their thoughts out there if it is helpful, developmental, and overall a really good thought for the growth of humanity. That's why I like philosophy, because it helps a lot. Alright, let's take another puff. I'll just take an intermission break to talk about the drawing. So I'm not really too fucking sure about what I'm drawing here. It's got like this weird body going on. These are wings here. Yeah, these are wings. This is gonna be a really fucking weird drawing, I'll tell you that. I think I might give him frog hands. Seems cool. Oh, the other hand's buried. Ooh. There we go. Weird amphibian-like hands. So I'm drawing these monsters. So I've got this one here from the previous video and this one. I'm drawing these monsters as a creation process of my comic, or for my comic I should say, because I'm trying to create these monsters to put in there. And now, I spoke a little bit about my comic in my last video, but I didn't really like how I put it. I don't really have the best way to put it right now because it's still in development, so the description is kind of hard. But basically the first volume starts with this fully armored guy coming into this just soul sanatorium building, this temple basically, and there's a coffin inside, and This guy's travelled this whole way across this dead, barren land off a belief that there is someone inside this coffin who could save them all from calamity. And he's travelled this way and he's managed to find this coffin. So he goes to open the coffin. He manages to open the coffin out of brute force, but that's taken the remainder of his strength. Now he's on the brink of death because, let me tell you, the travel is really tough. So when he gets there and he opens the coffin, out comes him, the emperor, the savior. Although he's a dead, empty vessel of what he used to be. This man rises up and questions the rescuer, but he notices one thing, that he has no memory of who he is. He has no knowledge of anything. He is dead inside. So he sets out, abandoning his rescuer because of our fear of him not knowing who he is. And he sets course out to adventure, pretty much, and find his head. And along his path, he will find many things that will help him or hurt him on his adventure. But overall, there is a hidden truth in his person, that he was once the emperor of the earth, and his son was the one to overrule him and put him in that coffin. And basically the whole story is of the main protagonist finding his mind and saving the world from his own son. And now that's probably just too much information there, but I don't think many people will watch this video anyway, so fuck it. If you're watching this, that's a nice teaser for what I'm working on. So be sure to absolutely stay tuned for what I make, because I promise you it's going to be a really good, really good story. So, this guy's looking pretty crazy. I think that's interlude over. So, with our meaning, there's one more part of it, why we often ask this question so much nowadays, because we live in a modern society. So, back relating to the animals, they live their life in fear, in control, and constantly living in one state of way, survival. But humans now, we are at the top of the food chain, we have conquered everything, and we no longer live in fear. I mean, yeah, we've got fear, but that's mostly self-generated. That comes from pretty much another person usually, or our own fault. So let's not bother to talk about that fear. Pretty much all we have now is nothing to hold us back. We are all limitless. But that does make finding your meaning harder, people say. I somewhat agree, because it gets pretty boring in life. But with modern society, we don't just have, work, eat, sleep, repeat. We have a lot of distractions. I mean, pretty much everything distracts us in our life. Obviously, we got technology, social media, working itself, having to shop, cook, eat, wash, clean, travel places, having to talk to people, having to bother with anything, it distracts us from our sole purpose, our sole meaning in life, our own desires, really. So obviously people keep pondering that question harder because they can't achieve it, or they can't get any momentum towards it, or they can't actually find it because they're too distracted. So modern life makes us ask that question a lot more than what is the meaning. And that makes it brutal. Sorry, I haven't even been drawing. I was really focusing on my words there. Alright, that's cool. Oh, fuck. Shit. Alright. So, one thing I want to say is that the positives of finding your meaning. Hold on. Very sorry about that. So, the positives of finding your meaning is that it gives you resilience to push through the hard times in life. So, obviously, we all do face hard times, whether it's financial, whether it's, loss, whether it's sheer, hardship. We all know what it is. Goddamn. But resilience grants us that great ability to push through all of this hardship. Gives it meaning, really, that our suffering should be allowed. It is something that makes us. I see that. I absolutely see that. And therefore, I'm okay with hardship. Tough titties, It also gives us motivation to push through and, to get things done. So, say I'm a bodybuilder, finding the meaning in life and trying to understand if I am a bodybuilder, and me agreeing with that makes it easier to go to the gym every single day, push through, get the job done, eat the food, so on and so forth. The game doesn't stop because I agree with me being a bodybuilder. It makes it easier to do all of it. Trust me, agree with what's happening. It makes it 100% easier to push through. It also gives us direction in our life. So it basically acts as a compass. So when you get posed other questions in your life, let's say, for example, you've faced a really traumatic event. You've gone broke, homeless, you've lost your job, your girlfriend's broken up with you. In those moments, it gives us the power to answer those questions easy. So you lose your job. Well, what should I do? Should I give up? No. I'm a bodybuilder. I need money to keep going. So I need to find a job. Cool. See what I'm saying? It helps you answer those questions of what to do, or what the next step is, or where to go in life. Helps you form that end goal, that the postcode of what you want to be, or where you want to go. And obviously via motivation, then you navigate towards your end goal a lot easier because you have your meaning. Helps you form your identity. So, as I said, when you agree with who you are It makes things a whole lot easier. And that pretty much is your identity. When you say who you are, and it is who you are, that, well, that is your identity. I'm not really good with identity. I swear to God. Sometimes it is hard to agree with your own identity. And I'll admit that. Because in a world where we have so many distractions, we sometimes feel like I'm lying to myself. I've worked 6 days this week, and they were all 11-hour shifts, and I haven't been able to go to the gym at all this week except for this one last pitiful day where I'm tired. So I put in a measly amount of energy because that's all I've got. I'm no bodybuilder. Well, now I've just fucking ruined my identity. It's hard to keep it straight sometimes. Too many distractions, too many things pulling us away from what we should be. God, it's evil. Gives us hope. So, meaning creates hope, and hope is like a glimmer of light within all the darkness. And when we're suffering in life, everything feels like darkness wrapped around us. But then when you cling onto that thing that you've made in your head, that identity, the meaning you've given, so on, that creates that glimmer of light within the darkness, a place that you find peace within, a place where you can lay your head and stay happy, stay free, stay clean, good. So, yeah, pretty much there's a few more positives towards having your purpose and having your meaning. But, do you know, I think that's personally enough for me. Because the other three, I mean, obviously I've made notes here. And the other three are just belonging, fulfillment, and legacy. And I mean, fulfillment is a very good thing, but I find fulfillment in those other ones. So I'm alright with not talking about that one. But let me just answer you one more question, because we're saying all about meaning. I haven't actually given the advice I want to give. So, the meaning, right? Oh, I fucked that nose up. God damn. The meaning is what you make it. Okay? Even if we're distracted, there's those thoughts that go on inside our head that try to piece together all of this. You need to trust those thoughts, right? Oh, I fucked that nose up bad. Okay. Those thoughts in your head that try to piece together everything that's going on. Trust those thoughts. Let them create the meaning. Let them name everything. Let them do everything. Because once it finds the meaning and makes a meaning, then you can follow that. Because that is the meaning. There's no meaning that is like given. It's all about finding it. You find your meaning, you find everything, but you're never gonna get told it. Never. You're never gonna get told it. You can't just have someone tell you your meaning. It's what you make of it. And it can be influenced. I'm not saying it can't. But having your meaning isn't someone telling you that is your meaning. Do you know what I'm saying? It's what you make. Alright. So that's pretty much it there from me. I'll probably finish this guy off in another video because, well, we spent 30 minutes on him already. I mean, it looks alright. He looks alright. It'll be interesting to see where he goes from here. Looks like a weird frog Chinese dragon to me. That's how I'm envisioning him. Little wings, but he's got 4 of them. Frog hands, big feet, weird long legs. That's cool. That's cool with me. Alright, so I'll leave it here. Thank you very much for watching. I hope you have enjoyed my video. I know I'm a little bit crap today. To be honest, I don't know why. I'm not feeling too awake, so my apologies. But if you've liked this video or want to see more of this or want to see what I am going to be like when I'm good at this, blah da 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 da, please do follow me. Please like this video. I 100% want the support. I want to take this the full mile. I want to see if this is a part of the meaning, you know, because it's something in my head that's been there for a while. So why don't I chase it, have my dream? So what? Do you know what I'm saying? So I want to see where this goes, and all it is to you is just to have one more person on your follow list that every now and then may make a video that you find cool. So I beg to God, if you subscribe, one day you'll like one of my videos. You'll actually like it. Even if you've not fully enjoyed this one and just had it on in the background, one day there's going to be a video that you will full screen and get involved in, because that's my goal. So thank you for watching and peace out.